Who has daughters? How is your relationship with them? Are you struggling to make it work? Do you feel like shit when you can't make it work? Well, I know I'm guilty of that. And luckily for me, I ran into a Madeline Anderson at an event at the Optimized Group in Mexico. And she's the author of Girl Dad. She's the founder of the Girl Dad Network and speaker on all things Girl Dad. Madeline speaks about tangible actions while fathers can take to have a great relationship with their daughters and how to relate to, as she puts, girl world and understand what matters most to your daughters. So Madeline, welcome and thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you so much, André. I'm really excited to be here.
Can you just give us a little quick rundown of who is Madeline? How did you get to this point and why did you write the book Girl Dad? Because it's a great story.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the oldest daughter of three girls. So my dad is definitely a girl dad. I grew up in Huntington Beach, California, went to UCLA, and have kind of been in this SoCal area my whole life. So I'm in Hermosa Beach now and absolutely loving it. I started writing Girl Dad when I was 22 years old, and the idea actually came to me when I was just driving in Santa Monica, and a thought popped into my head that said, "You should write a book called Girl Dad." And it was kind of strange because, usually for authors, they have this idea for a story and then they write the book and then they kind of think of the title afterwards based on what the book ends up being about. And for me, it was like this title was just kind of given to me. And then I wrote the book afterwards. And I originally had called my dad right after I had that idea. And he was like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, you got to do this, put this story in there, talk about this." And so it became real really fast. And the whole time that I was writing it, and, ever since the initiative of that idea that came to me, it really felt like this was almost like given to me for me to put out here in the world. And so it's been a driving force this whole time, and it's something that I'm really passionate about and excited to continue to grow with. So, after publishing Girl Dad, I founded Girl Dad Network, which is an online community for fathers with daughters that has resources and courses. And I do live monthly calls where they can bring up situations going on at home and get real-time advice. So it just continues to grow and evolve. And I'll be launching a podcast soon. So yeah, just all good things. And that's kind of the initial Girl Dad, and how it came to be.
So why do you find it important to write about the Girl Dad? We've talked quite a few times. The first time I realized that you're referring to me as the Girl Dad.
Yes. You are the girl dad. I am the daughter.
And
I
just for the
think,
listeners, I got two daughters and that's it.
yes, exactly. And so I wrote this book for fathers with daughters because I think, there's a lot of incredible resources out there for dads, but nothing that's from the daughter perspective. And I think it's important to know, and that's why I interviewed a bunch of daughters and fathers for the book. But I think, after I've spoken with a lot of the dads who have read the book, the daughter stories are the ones that stand out because they're hearing directly from girls whose fathers have done these great things for them and how it was received by them. And I think that, there's, like I said, there's a lot of other resources out there, but they're more so from the father perspective. And so this gives a little twist, and it's a really positive and uplifting book. And it really goes to show you that it's all the little things that matter to us girls. It's not rocket science, on how to have a great relationship with us. But I think it's important for this book to be approachable and exciting. And I really wrote it with the idea that a dad who either has a daughter currently or is, just found out he's going to have a daughter, once they close the book, they're feeling really excited. They're feeling really positive. They're excited to grow the relationship or strengthen the foundation. And that's what it's all about.
Okay, so you say you talked to a lot of daughters, not just yourself, about
Yeah.
around this book. You also said that there's a lot of books or information there, but from the father's perspective, which I think that's part of the problem because I don't know if it's societal intent. Like, I'm really confused how I should be dealing with my daughters based on what I'm hearing and reading. And so with you dealing or interviewing with daughters and you being well, and you said it's not the little thing, it's the little things that matter, not the big things. Because this is the one thing that really impressed me on that little hike in Mexico was it was really ridiculously simple things that just really changed the relationship with my daughters actually. And it was so simple. I thought it was ridiculous. But I'll try it anyways. I'm the person, I'll try it anyways and see what happens. But what does a daughter want in their relationship with their fathers from your research and experience?
Yeah, I think that's a hard question because, just to distill it down to one kind of answer, but I almost think of it like an umbrella and there's all these different things underneath it, but that large theme is kind of like the love and connection, right? That's what daughters want from their dad is love and connection. And underneath that, it can be all kinds of different things, whether it's like security, stability, fun, mentorship, and all these different things. And it really depends on the daughter and her personality and what she desires from that relationship. But I think the answer to, how do you get that love and connection and provide that to your daughter is really, it starts with exploring her love language and understanding who she is as a person. And so, there's 5 love languages: quality time, words of affirmation, gifts, physical touch, and acts of service. And the more you can know who your daughter is as a father, the better you can show up for her. So if you recognize which love language she needs from you, and a lot of times it's all of them, but it's kind of a priority list. So once you understand, like, this is how she, shows up for me, and this is what she needs from me, the better off you will be. And a lot of times those are 2 different things. So, she might show you physical touch by holding your hand or latching onto you, but she might need words of affirmation. She might need you telling her how much you love her and how proud you are of her and these things. And so it's hard to know when she's super young, but you can pick up on little hints. And then as she gets older, I actually encourage fathers to take the test with their daughters and make a fun event out of it, just so that you can help her explore who she is. And then also you're getting to know who she is. And then you can kind of help guide her accordingly or help promote that love and connection accordingly.
Okay,
But yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's probably love and connection.
so the love part, I think for most fathers, I think it's pretty easy. But the connection part, male, female connection, like me as a father, my connecting with other people is a bit different than the girls, and especially around that 9 to 13 age range. What am I as a father misunderstanding about connecting with a daughter? Like, because like in all honesty, I'm a guy. I do guy things, and the type of stuff that I do is not really. Maybe this is a societal stereotype, but like right now, the one is really into clothes and looking, doing makeup and all that. And I just have no idea how the hell I can make a connection when it's all that kind of stuff that, one, I don't really care about, which is a truth, and 2, I don't quite understand shades. I got 8 basic colors. I don't have 400,000. So what's my biggest misconception about what a daughter wants or feels?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of dads who feel the same exact way. And I think that there's this misunderstanding that you need to be, playing with the Barbies or taking her to the mall or doing these things that are all about what you think she wants in order to connect with her. When really, one of my number one pieces of advice for dads with daughters is to continue to do what you love and invite her to be a part of it. And so, my dad did this really well when we were little girls. He didn't stop golfing with his friends, even though, that's a lot of, time away from home, hypothetically, because golf takes a long time. But what he would do is he would bring us with him. And in doing so, we were really excited because we felt included in something that he loved to do. And he actually ended up slowly but surely teaching us how to play golf. Because at first, we were young, we were there for the bunnies and the wildlife and the milkshakes after golf. We were not there to play golf. And then, pretty soon we have a little putter with us. And now we're practicing our putts with him. And now we're feeling included. And then fast forward to today. And anytime I go home to see my dad, I'm always asking, can we play golf? What's the plan? And, all 3 of us girls were on the high school golf team because of my dad and the way that he helped include us in his world and made us feel welcomed. And turns out, we had a shared passion as well, which is kind of a fun bonus if you end up finding ways to include your daughter in your world. And this comes in all kinds of categories. It's not just sports, it's think about how you spend your time. And rather than trying to alter that to, fit into your daughter's world, try to just invite her to be a part of yours. So even if you love watching hockey or football, maybe you buy her a jersey of your favorite team and you say, "Hey, do you want to sit down and watch the game with me?" Because from her perspective, she feels wanted, she feels included. She doesn't feel like this game is pulling you away from her. It feels like something that is now a bonding experience. And if you can do that, a lot, especially when she's young, then she really comes to understand, the rules of the game. Maybe she's interested. Maybe it's fun for her to watch too, but also she understands that she's always welcome to hang out with you. And if she decides that she doesn't want to watch hockey or, football or whatever's on the TV, she can make that decision, but she doesn't feel like it's this thing that's pulling you away from her. And that's the main thing. So I guess, circling back to the biggest misconception, I think it's this idea that you have to make all the efforts to relate to her and not vice versa. And I think that obviously it's great if you can find ways to connect with her. Like my dad, he's really artsy. And so he would paint our nails like really intricate designs. And it was so fun for us. Like he would do ladybugs, the little dots and the wings and everything using like a toothpick. But that was something that was special to us. But it was really, at the end of the day, it was all the ways that he included us in his world that made the difference. So, I think that's something that all dads can
And what
work
I'm
on.
hearing is they have to be invited,
Yes,
not just let them guess that they're welcome anytime. It's just,
absolutely.
wow. See, I told you there's a lot of simple stuff she'll come up with that makes a big difference.
I want to hear more about what worked for you too.
The one was, you told me to invite, like your example with the golfing with your dad. It kind of worked out with my oldest with scuba diving. I started to invite her more, go with woodworking with what I'm doing. And then all of a sudden she just starts showing up, what TV show you're gonna watch. Like, I'll admit it, I watch NCIS religiously since it started. And it's on the recorder, PVR here in Canada, or TiVo down your way. And she just starts saying, "Oh, you're gonna watch that? So do you want to watch with me?" Because I figured she wouldn't be interested, but since you said invite more, after the fourth time she came down and just started watching it, half of it, and then I got in trouble for watching it without her. Because it was just, I just forgot. And then now it's like I can't not watch it with her. And if I watch it without her, then I have to not delete it so that we can watch it again together later. So it's just, she does her own thing. She kind of pays attention, but you're right. It's just, we're there together. And that's starting to go into more things where she's actually actively coming to me to see if we can try different things, play cards or, but even like last night, actually, I said, how about, she wanted to watch the Super Bowl halftime show because it was her birthday this past weekend. And she went on a big shopping spree without me, which is fine. I'm okay with that. It was 6 hours of shopping with my wife. But she missed the Super Bowl. And so we watched it last night, right? I didn't care about the artist. Honestly, it's rap. I don't care about it. But it was important to her, but she invited me. So I went down. And then we ended up doing a couple other things, watch a couple extra stuff, and then finally said, "All right, how about you go do what you need to do and we'll go back and play cards." And she was all happy, but then she forgot to come back down to play cards. And then when I didn't catch her. I was just, "Oh, hey, you didn't come back down, you don't want to play cards?" She's like, "Oh crap, I forgot." And this time was not, "Oh crap, I forgot," just to brush me off. It was, "Oh crap, I actually forgot," unless she was looking forward to it. So it was just little things. It was nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know, like one thing I do feel is it's got to be all this grandiose stuff, right? And it's Barbies, and you got to do everything that they want to do, and you don't do anything. So I don't know if that's just an André problem or a societal problem or whatnot. It's not that I'm ashamed of them. It's just it's hard to do a lot of girly stuff when I'm not interested in that kind of girly stuff for it. It just doesn't jive with me. And the other thing is I've never done it until I had girls, right? I was never exposed to it. So it was very confusing, especially the emotional side of girls, especially that 9 to 13 age, man. Wow, like that's, hormones and just, and life sucks at that age because kids that age are just cruel and just life sucks. And to deal with those emotional roller coasters, for me, it's tough as a father. You can't help. They don't want your help. They're at that age where they can only talk about their health stuff to mom only, because why would you want to talk to dad about bras and whatever else? And that's tough on me too. I'm not needed. I know once we get they're in their 20s and they get over this teenage stuff, I'll be back in their lives, but it's still going from, being everything in their world to stay the hell away, or I don't want your help no more. Even though logically I know it's, I don't want to hear a lot of their challenges or problems. From the female side, it's what my wife wants. It's best my wife takes care of it, but still hurts that you're not needed. And I don't know if that's something daughters understand at all at that age.
You know, I think that it's something that, or something that I say a lot to dads that is really important to keep in mind is that daughters are always the oldest they've ever been. And it's, again, not rocket science. And it's something that's true for all of us, right? Like we are all the oldest we've ever been. But I think this especially rings true in those teenage years because to answer your question, I think no, I don't think that daughters realize the impact that they have on their dads and the way that they treat them during that stage can affect them. And I think once they kind of grow up a little bit, they reflect and they're like, wow, my dad was there for me. He showed up. He was, yeah, all these things. And then you become very grateful and, sometimes regretful about the things you've said or done. But at the time, you feel like you're this independent, girl who should have all the flexibility to do whatever she wants. And even though she's living under the roof of her parents and they're supporting her life financially and they provide all this love and everything. And so I think that it's really common for girls to miss that. But I also think that, recognizing the female hormone cycle is actually pretty eye-opening too. And this is actually something that I teach in Girl Dad Network, just because I think it's something that most people don't know, and it's pretty fascinating. So men, for example, their hormone cycle is 24 hours.
Yeah,
So that's
daily.
why, yeah, that's why every single day you feel relatively the same. And a lot of times, like in the morning, that's when you have like more energy. The testosterone is higher, and then it slowly dips throughout the day, and then it rises up, and that's the cycle, right? That's the 24-hour
Oh, so
man
men do have a
hormone.
cycle, but
Yes,
okay,
but it's a daily cycle, right? And so for
yeah.
women, it's 28 days, not 24 hours. And that's just average. So it fluctuates depending on the person, but that's on average, it's 28 days. And out of those 28 days, there's about 1 week where women feel really good. Other than that, there's a lot of like, you're either on your period, feeling, gross and all
Yeah.
these things, or you're PMSing, which is before the period. And that is actually probably the worst time for most women where they just feel grumpy. And there's just these emotions that you honestly, it's like, I wish that we could do more about it. And, you can take some supplements or work out more and regulate your cycle and everything. But there's a lot of the times it's just these feelings that kind of like pop up, and it's frustrating for the women too. And so when you're a teenager, especially, you have no idea how to deal with this because these are all new feelings. And it's just like wacky emotions, crying a lot, lashing out sometimes. And it's different for every daughter, but that's just like on average, you see these hormones definitely affecting them and their personalities, and the way that they manifest that sometimes is they take it out on their parents, especially the dads, because they just think, oh, I can't even talk to you about this. I can only rely on mom right now. And I think, there's a lot of ways that you can still show up for her as a father during those times. And sometimes it's being her, what I call the silent supporter. So, you can just write her a handwritten note, leave it on her dresser or something, and tell her how much you love her and how you're always there for her, no matter what she's feeling, or, and you can just kind of avoid some awkward conversations that might not want to be happening face to face through handwritten notes. You can also just like my dad one time, I was going off to a golf match and there was a little tampon that he put in the bag, and he was kind of like, check the pocket, in case of emergencies. And I was like, what? And so you could even do something like that. Like if it's awkward to talk about, periods or
I got
tampons or
the
whatever.
emergency pencil case bag in the truck.
There
Cause I
you
got
go.
caught
Yeah.
once. I got caught once without my wife wasn't there. So we got a stash in the truck.
There you go. Yeah. And you could even say like, hey, like there's a little, check the back for in case of emergencies. And she might be like, what?
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, okay. And then it's like, you don't have to talk about it. And some girls, like, it's not a problem. Like there was this one girl I interviewed and it's in the book, but her dad was going to the market and he was like, hey, do you girls need anything? And he had 4 daughters, right? So he's plenty aware of all these things. And one of the girls was like, Dad, can you get tampons? And he responded and said, regular or super?
Yeah.
So he's just like, he's like on it, right? Just, and that's not awkward at all. Nothing is off the table. So I think, again, it really comes down to the family. And obviously this conversation has been very open about these kinds of things. So apologies to anyone who feels awkward that way,
I
but
think the way you described it is, that was a very simple explanation that's easily understood. And I appreciate sharing that because I don't think a lot of fathers quite understand it because we gossip about it, we read it on Facebook. But the way you described it really explains to me, I can start seeing, oh yeah, bad timing on my part or whatnot. So, but these are the types of things you're describing in your Girl Dad Network, not just that kind of stuff, but from the perspective of the daughter.
yeah, because at the end of the day, I want dads to understand that a lot of times, even if they're putting in this effort, if they're not receiving, the right kind of outcome, a lot of times it's not on them. And they can go to bed feeling good about what they've done if they are, checking the boxes and doing the right
Yeah.
things. But like you said, maybe sometimes it's wrong timing, right? Maybe it's just you're having this conversation and she's PMSing and she feels horrible right now. And it's like you have to give yourself some grace too. And if you're showing up or if you could, do more things to initiate connection with your daughter or what have you. So I think there's always lots of opportunities for you as a father to put in the effort and find ways to connect and show the love. But if you're in those teenage years, especially, and you're struggling, I want dads to give themselves some grace and just focus on controlling what they can control and recognizing that there's a lot of things that they can't, right?
Give up control. Wow. You're asking a lot, Madeline, but that's true.
No, it's not giving up control. It's
No.
controlling what you can control.
Yeah, I know, still.
You'll never be able to control your daughter. That's the
No,
thing.
and honestly, I kind of like that because they can spend for themselves. But I had a great question. Now it just escaped me. What does your is I don't want to call I don't know what it exactly your Girl Dad Network a program or yeah, it's a program, right? It's a monthly
Community.
program.
It's online platform, membership community.
Cool. Can you give us a little more information about it, what it will include? Because I think this is a really neat concept you come out and it's out there. And it's not what I like about it's not clinical based, it's all based on experience and the fact that you've done a lot of research. But the biggest separation from you and others is the dad's not at fault.
Yeah.
Usually these things are always the dad sucks, they're the assholes. And it's just like, no, you're part of the problem. Daughters can be part of the problem, but here's some simple stuff that's not over engineered or over analyzed. And if you're providing this stuff, please, I want you to explain this to the other girl dads out there right now.
Yeah. So the whole point of it is really to provide easy to access, quick resources for fathers with daughters so that they can best show up for their daughters. So I made the whole platform with the busy dad in mind. And so there's a bunch of quick resources for dads, such as a gift guide where you can sort by age. And then there's a bunch of links that I've created that basically you can just go to the website, check out, and it's everything a daughter of that age would want, categorized by fashion, books, technology, all the different things. So just, again, easy for the dads and has an impact on the daughters. And then there's an activity guide with a bunch of different options for ways to connect with your daughter. Same thing, categorized. And then I have handwritten note templates, which have been really popular. So those are categorized, yeah, by topic. So if it's like an apology, or if it's like a celebration, or a just because letter, and you can click that, and I've already written a note for you, and you just can now copy it and maybe add your own flair. But it's a great starting point, and it just helps dads to, again, quickly provide something to the daughters that's worthwhile with the connection. And then I do have courses on there that are longer, but they're all self-paced. So, again, for the busy dads who just want to go to the one section that's maybe on, depressed daughters, like, and how they can show up for them, then you just take the course at your own speed. You can just do that section if you want, and then move on. And so, I have a course for young daughters and then a teenage daughter course. And I think they're
so
both
for the fathers and daughter courses, not just
no, it's
one.
it's
Okay,
just for the
cool.
dads. Yeah. Everything on Girl Dad Network is just for dads, but
Okay.
it's for dads with teenage
Yep,
daughters, or
okay.
dads with young daughters, because it's tailored to that specific age category, all the advice and all of the lessons in it. And so I think those courses are really valuable. And then the last piece of it is these monthly calls that I do. And so this is an opportunity for dads to bring up a real-time situation going on at home and get advice from the other dads in the group, and then from myself providing the daughter perspective. So that's
Oh, wow.
that's the community
Yeah.
as a whole. It's a monthly membership or yearly, but that's kind of how it is structured. And again, the whole point is just to provide easy, quick access for fathers to best show up with their daughters.
And this is at www.girldadnetwork.com. They can find
Yes.
this.
Yeah, girldadnetwork.com.
You said some of the hand notes. That's something I've been kind of doing for a long time. And the one thing I also did when they were very, very young, I got their own email address at Gmail, but they didn't have access to it. It's just, I wanted to trap their names and whatever.
Smart.
And at a young age, I started sending them emails to that email address with some photos of things that happened in their career, or some silly thing that they did
Aww.
that made me laugh. My youngest hasn't seen hers yet, but my oldest, when we gave it to her 3 years ago at 13, she still doesn't talk to me about those emails. She just confirmed she read them. That was it.
Oh, that is such a cute idea. I've never heard of that, but I love it, especially because I swear my name has been taken in every single derivative on every single email. So that would have been a nice touch. But no, that's so cute. And I love it's almost like a virtual what are those, like, time capsules?
Yeah.
That's really cute.
I'd like to hear from them one day what they thought about it, but we'll leave it for another day when they're ready to speak, not when I want to. So, wow, Madeline, thank you so much. The three big things, little things that matter the most, not the big things. We don't have to be grandiose about everything, just a simple, hey, come down and do something with me. That's all it is. And what I'm hearing from you, that's the majority of what they'll change the relationship. They don't care about the big things, but a lot of the little things. Daughters are always the oldest daughters are always the oldest they have ever been at that time. That really hit me hard because yes, they're only X years old right now. Why? They haven't had enough light, blah, blah, blah. That was a big thank you for that one. And then what I heard from you constantly was spend time together, and importantly, invite them.
Yes.
That was the common thing I heard. So thank you very much for being with us, Madeline. And don't forget to check her out on www.girldadnetwork.com and her book, Girl Dad. Madeline, thank you so much for being here and sharing this experience with me.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. I have really enjoyed today's conversation.
Yes. And the girl dads out there, you're not an idiot. And your daughters don't hate you. They want to be a part of your life. Stop telling yourself otherwise, please. I've stopped telling myself that. And for you, the listener, what will be your first hangout request to your daughter? Let me know at André at impulsivethinker.com. I would love to hear what your first hangout request is and the outcome what is after a few attempts. So thanks again for learning with me. We'll talk to you soon.